I noticed that my razor's edge stories, no matter how grim they might be, no matter how many people end up getting eaten in them, they're still kind of hopeful.
Grab your weapons, criminal scum. We have beatdowns to hand out.
Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Thumbs up for that. It is Saturday morning, I believe, as I am recording this. Yes, indeed, Saturday morning, and weekends are slower, and there's phone calls I forgot to make this week. There's phone calls that I need to make come starting Monday. But I did get some stuff done. I actually had one phone call from a social worker. My therapist had recommended going through this organization through the VA because one of their clients was homeless for 24 hours and now has a provided appointment, has Ubers, and so they got me in contact with them, and they gave me a couple home numbers to call in the community and said, have a great day. So it's not the end. There's still hope. There's still another number I need to call, and hopefully that'll be able to help, and that'll be good. Definitely a thumbs up if true. Yay. And of course, YouTube algorithms front loading of videos. Yay. If you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. I don't know what symbol I was making. If you could subscribe to the channel, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I read every single one of them. I thumbs up every one that I do read, which is all of them, and I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow. So thumbs up on that. And of course, I do wish to thank every single one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and awesome people who help to keep me and my pets alive. I am slowly sinking underneath the waves of financial ruin, but these people have slowed the descent enough that I'm at least not quickly drowning. So thank you very much, and if you would like to become one of these beautiful and awesome people, hey, the link is in the video description. Thumbs up for that, and front loading of YouTube videos over. Yay! So yeah, it's been fun. My nose has been running like crazy today, so if I'm going like this and sniffling and snurfling, my sincere apologies. Oi. I gotta love allergies. The immunoglobulin annoyance type of allergies. To the best of my knowledge, I have no food, drug, or other type of allergies, and that's good. My wife, I've mentioned this before, I think my late wife died in late 2014, early 2014? Something like that. She died in 2014. But toward the end, she started becoming allergic to so many types of foods and such. So I didn't do it. She was always having to zap herself with an EpiPen, and then I drove her off to the hospital. Food allergies suck. Well, any kind of allergies suck. The medical kind and the lay person's allergies with immunoglobulin E. Thumbs up for that. But still, life is life. And I didn't get that call, and nothing has happened yet, but that's good. It's good. One thing I did have to laugh about. I know that in the midst of bad things happening, people want to be distracted in happy ways. I've said before that, a lot of YouTubers, big YouTubers, found them when they started admitting to their emotional problems that they were having, especially because of the pandemic. They were getting waves of support, but there are also a whole bunch of negative effects from that too. And when you look at it from the outside, it comes more apparent. It's like, people go to the circus so that they can be distracted by happy stuff. They don't go to the circus to be distracted by the clown sitting down and telling their sad stories and all the things that are wrong in their life. So yeah, all these YouTubers that have had the negative effects of having, copped to having mental issues with all this stuff. There is the support, and that's good. But the thing that makes me laugh about that is, in the midst of all that, here I am telling my stories. I mean, nobody watches me anyway, aside from the people that do, and thank you very much. I mean, in the greater sense, nobody. I mean, I get like 0.0000001% of views that could be gotten. And it's me, I know that, no issues, but in the middle of all that, I'm telling my stories about my stuff going on with my cryptids and how it's all really, so depressing and sad and horrible. So hopefully you are entertained by the sad and horrible endings of these poor tortured peoples. Because, of course, I wanted to talk about this. I'm still talking a lot about Malik and the whole cryptid stuff because, well, I enjoy following lines of creativity, and right now my creativity is just really chewing on this whole scenario. I've mentioned before some of the things that I like to do with my characters is let them talk, have a soliloquy, have them just rail at something so that I know what they're thinking and how they're thinking. It's something that will likely never be written about because it's so that I can understand them, but I just let them talk or rail inside of my head, and I'm occasionally very surprised by what I come up with. And I was surprised when I had Malik doing one of these talks in my head and came up with I chase the parts that taste good, and if it starts to taste wrong, I just back off and leave it. And this tasted and felt right where I was going with it. And it ended up with, Malik is talking to whomever, just saying, I don't want your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy. I reject your sympathy. Save your sympathy for my victims. And then it ends up with them just saying, I am hideous. I am a monster, an abomination. And it struck me because this was said with vehemence, quite a lot of self-horror, self-anger, self-disgust, self-hate. 13th kind cryptids are tortured. They load themselves because of what they have to do. But this is far more than just that. And it felt right. And so, as a kind of soliloquy on this, I'm going to try and talk it out as best as I can remember, because this is what Malik was saying to whomever when I was coming up with all of this stuff as I was out walking. It has become refined to this, but it is along the lines of, when I first became self-aware and I became sentient and sapient, I was able to sleep for a full 8 hours, and I was restful and mild dreams, and I would wake refreshed. Within a few years of my having to take my victims, that stopped. The nightmares began with the screams of my victims, and the more there were, the louder the screams and the longer it lasted. These days, when I close my eyes to rest, the screams start immediately, and they do not stop until I wake and open my eyes 8 hours later. But I do not want your sympathy. I reject your sympathy. I do not deserve it. I deserve only your hatred and disgust. Save your sympathy for my victims. Not a one of them deserved to die to preserve the life of this. I am hideous. I am a monster, an abomination. And it is not from lack of will or character that I still exist. I have tried so many times to end myself through starvation and harm. If I starve myself, my body takes over and I am trapped in my skull as my body hunts and eats, and only after another person is trapped in the caging of my abdomen is my autonomy and agency returned to me. And if I try to hurt myself, my body is myself. I cannot keep secrets from myself. It simply will not do it. I have tried so many times, and I still exist. Malik is not having a very good time inside of their head. And I noticed while on walkies last night thinking about all this, my cryptid stories have largely been struggles for existence. Trying to figure out who you are, what you are, how you fit into the world. But more and more, the poor individuals in these stories are really suffering hard because of what's happening to them. And I noticed that my Razor's Edge stories, no matter how grim they might be, no matter how many people end up getting eaten in them, they're still kind of hopeful. You adapt, you go on, you accept inevitabilities. Maybe you're missing a limb now. You adapt and you continue surviving. There's stories of hope, people continuing to exist. But the cryptid stories, more and more, really seem to be stories about beings that have been traumatized and victimized by fate and circumstances beyond their control. And now they're simply dragging their bleeding bodies through the mud, looking for a hole that they can crawl into, where they can lick their wounds and just die in peace. And I did not mean to do that. That has just turned into something that's occurring, especially since I noticed myself another one of these horrific things. Malik is suffering because they are human without being human. They have a non-human body. They did not exist as a human being before. They are a composite of 12 individuals who were victims to create the composite generic human template that is Malik. Malik is forced to create victims to survive. And they are a composite of those who were victimized. This is tearing Malik apart. They are a human without being human. And then there's Melanie Cable, who appears to be human, is a ghost type cryptid, feels human, acts human, needs answers. But reality is not giving her what she needs, because at first she finds out that, she's not even Melanie Cable. She only received her own autonomy and bodily agency upon Melanie Cable's life. Everything that Melanie Cable remembers is something that happened to Melanie Cable. She was just there watching. And only after Melanie Cable died, that's when she became a person. And then later, she and another are having to run from a creature that they have found. It traces and chases based on what is human inside of you, because it feeds on that. And being a ghost type is not always a defense against that. But with Melanie, it finds her, she looks right, but she doesn't have what it needs, and so it leaves. And that especially is destroying her, because she needs to know what she is. She was able to accept the identity of Melanie Cable while knowing that she's not Melanie Cable. But she's also having to accept that whatever makes somebody human is not in her. Malik is suffering because they are human without being human. And Melanie Cable is being torn apart and destroyed because she's human, but she's not human. And that is tearing her apart, which is tearing her partner apart, because her partner can't give her what she needs, because reality is exactly at odds with that. So they're both being torn apart. And of course, Malik is also being torn apart. They and their friend, Danny D, had spent 15 years as friends on Danny D's properties. Danny D ran just a small farm, had some generational money, didn't need to work, but did. Had a small farm with a couple animals, a large cannabis crop, and was really into computer stuff. And for 15 years, they were trying to find some hope, some way of helping Malik. And then the miscommunication, and Malik ends up with their body devouring Danny. And that's when they gave up. Just trashed all the stuff that was left, ran out into nothing, and just has lived out in the wild again, doing their best to just not think, because just thinking and existing is just so freaking painful. And I've opened up 24 hours for the comments in my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. It's never many anymore, but anything more than 0 is very awesome. Thumbs up and thank you. If I mispronounce a username, and I probably will, no disrespect is intended. You can see my memory in the way that I do things. And of course, even though I count American Sign Language, no guarantee I'm going to be able to actually do it properly and in sequence. Let me call my Chrome here. We have Jesse Koskinen. Oh, I love the actual redesigned PS1. It is awesome. Confused Owl 29. I got a couple made. Thank you very much, and good to see you in the comments. And then we have Flora Mew. Always good to see you in the comments. Hopefully you read my answer to that one comment. I try very, very hard to make sure that anything vor-like in these stories is painful, awful, and brutal. I like soft vor. I'm into soft vor. I don't like the kind of vor that I write about in the stories. Ugh. We have LL Bean, and then there's Belzora Hollow, and then 3 thumbs up and thank you. And then we have Ben B. Good to see you in the comments. And thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. And then we have Spino Gaming. I'm at least alive, and that is a very, very good thing. And that is it. 7 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only for a short time and if only in text. Still, thank you very, very much. And of course, with my hands in the air, don't know what device you're watching this on, but in the show more, I have links to all of my various channels, as well as my Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. And again, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, these literally beautiful and awesome people who literally help to keep me alive. And I, like other people, have become disgusted by how the term literally is now in the dictionary, meaning the opposite of literally. Literally can now also mean not literally. But thank you, each and every one of these literally beautiful and awesome people. You are awesome people, and thank you. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I have a PayPal link down below, and if you could help me out also by tossing me a like, that'd be awesome. If you could subscribe to the channel, or at least hit the notification bell, that'd be very cool. Yay! Such is life, though. I'm not going to get much done over this weekend. Hopefully I'm going to survive. Oh, I need to call my doctors. That I got a spot on my back where I can't see it, but oh, it was like a patch of fire last night. So hopefully I'm not going to die of skin cancer. Hopefully you're going to have fun this weekend. Do the things you want to do, not do the things you don't want to do, and thumbs up for that. I plan on playing games, being creative, watching YouTube videos, and just trying to not think about the horrors of life. Yay! I need to find Pagliacci and not listen to him, whine and bitch about his own problems on stage. I want to be distracted. I don't want to hear about his distractions. I don't really feel that way. It's life. But with the Covfefe bug still raging, you know what the precautions are. You especially know what the precautions are for your area. Be smart. That's all I ask. Be smart. Be the last to be cautious. Let everyone else drop their safeties first. But until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is a very good thing. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's early morning for me.